Good morning, children. Today we are going to study from EVS textbook, lesson number 12, Food for All. Children, food is our basic need. We cannot stay without food. Life is difficult without food. Every day we eat different types of vegetables and different types of food. From where all that food comes? Yes, it comes from agriculture. The farmers work very hard in the farm. Let us study about agriculture in detail. We get food from plants. For that purpose, we sow grains in fields and plant fruit trees in orchards. About 60% of the land of our country is in use for agriculture. There are two main agricultural seasons in our country. The season from June to October is called the Kharif season. In this season, the crops are watered mainly by the rain. The season from October to March is the Rabi season. In this season, rainwater that has soaked into the soil, the retreating monsoons and dew are the sources of water for the crops. Some crops are grown from March to June. These are called summer crops. Let us know about the agricultural work. A good harvest provides a good income. Fertile land, good quality seeds and fertilizers and availability of water are essential for a good harvest. It is also necessary to carry out the task of tilling the land. Every farmer wishes to get a good harvest. Harvest means the process of gathering in crops. The crop in the field must be protected and the harvested crop must also be stored safely. All of these processes are important. The population of our country is increasing and still the needs of all the people are being met. This has been possible because of modern improved methods of agriculture. Now first we will study about the traditional agriculture which is going on from years and years. In the traditional method, plowing, tilling, etc. were done with the help of oxen. A mott, that is, a huge leather bag, driven with the help of oxen, was used to draw water from the well. Harvesting, threshing, etc. was done by the members of the farmer's family themselves with the help of oxen. However, farmers now carry out all these tasks with the help of machines. Let's talk about the improved methods of agriculture. In improved methods, improved seeds are required. Earlier, it was customary to preserve the seeds of one harvest for sowing in the next season. Those seeds did not have a high yield. Nowadays, improved seeds are developed through research. They are available in the market for every crop such as jawar, rice, groundnut, wheat, etc. These have a higher yield. They can resist pest attacks. Some varieties become ripe for harvesting in a shorter period of time, while some give a high yield even with a low water supply. So nowadays, the farmers don't have to store the seeds of one harvest for the next season. They get the improved seeds in the market for any crop. Now let's talk about the modern methods of irrigation. Crops grow well if they are watered at the right time. Water from rivers, lakes, and wells is used for irrigation in addition to rainwater. Greater quantities of water are stored by building dams and bunds on rivers to obstruct the flow of water downstream. This also helps to raise the levels of groundwater. Drip irrigation and sprinkle irrigation are two of these modern methods. The drip irrigation method makes use of pipes with holes. This ensures that the required amount of water drips only near the plants. Thus, full use is made of the available water. Sprinkle irrigation makes use of sprinklers of different sizes that spray water directly on plants. Now let us know about the fertilizers. Children, if the same crops are grown frequently in a field, the fertility of the soil decreases. Then we have to add fertilizers to the soil to restore its productivity. Fertilizers provide the required nutritive substances to the crop. There are two kinds of fertilizers, natural and chemical. Natural fertilizers are called manures. They are obtained from materials available in nature like green waste and animal dung. Chemical or artificial fertilizers are mixtures of different chemical substances in specific proportions useful for agriculture. In the traditional agriculture, organic manures such as compost were used. Chemical fertilizers came to be used for quicker growth and higher yields. The overuse of chemical fertilizers leads to accumulation of excessive chemicals in the soil. This lowers the fertility of the soil and reduces its productivity. Also, overwatering makes the land saline, means salty, and fallow. The fertility can be restored by adding these substances. If land becomes saline and fallow, it has to be tested to find out which substances it lacks. The fertility can be restored by adding these substances. It is a costly and time-consuming procedure. Therefore, it is better to avoid excessive use of fertilizers and water. Children, for human diet also, if we have a balanced diet, the growth and the health is good. Same happens with the plants or the crops. Proper amount of fertilizers, chemicals and water is provided to the plant, it grows healthy. And if there is excess of fertilizers and water, it damages the soil also and it damages the growth of the plant also. Let us study how we can protect the crops. Protection of crops. Diseases and pest attacks can damage crops in the fields. As a remedy, insecticides and pesticides are sprayed on crops or certain chemicals are rubbed on the seeds before sowing. Storage of grain. Storing the harvest crop safely is as important as increasing the production. What steps are taken for this purpose? The grain is dried well in the sun and filled in sacks. The sacks are then stocked in the house or after selling in warehouses or shops. Stored grain can get damaged in two ways. Mice, rats, and insects can spoil the grain to a great extent. Also, if the grain is stored in a closed and damp space, it catches fungus and becomes unfit for eating. To prevent such damage by pests, chemicals are sprayed at the place of storage or all around it. Neem leaves are mixed in the grain. Some protective chemicals that can be mixed with the grain are also available in the market. Their smell repels insects. Storage places are always kept dry and airy to prevent fungus formation. Food storage and conservation of environment. Like humans, other living things also store food. Each of them has a different way of doing it. Insects like ants store food. Bees collect nectar from flowers and store it in a honeycomb in the form of honey. Squirrels store seeds. Because these animals store food, it is available to them when they need it. Here in the picture we can see ant and ant hill where they store their food. Honeybee stores its food in the form of honey. Here is the squirrel, stores the seeds. All the time, plants are busy producing the food they need. Even so, there are some plants that store food. You are familiar with bulbs of plants such as onions and garlic and tubers such as potatoes, ginger, etc. They are all parts of the stem of the plants. Radishes, sweet potatoes, beetroots are the roots of the plants. These plants store food in their stems or roots. We too store food in our homes according to our needs. In India, due to the improved methods of cultivation, we now produce plenty of food grains and the production exceeds the demand. The surplus food grain is stored in huge warehouses. Sometimes production is affected by a disaster such as floods, drought, a cyclone, or hailstorm. At such times, the stored surplus grain can be used for the people. It can also be used for people displaced due to disasters like an earthquake. The Green Revolution. Children, Today, our country is self-reliant as far as production of food grains is concerned. Self-reliant means reliant on one's own powers and resources rather than those of others. The tremendous increase in food grain production in our country was achieved during the Green Revolution. It was brought about by the joint efforts of scientists, people working for the spread of science, and farmers. The credit for the research that led to improvement in the seeds of wheat and rice that resulted in the Green Revolution in India goes to Dr. M. S. Swaminathan. Food security. Many countries have made laws to ensure that every person gets sufficient food according to their need. These laws are known as food security laws. In 2013, our country too enacted a food security law. It has made it possible to fight ills like malnutrition, starvation, and deaths due to hunger. Agricultural Assistance Program. Through this program, farmers are given proper information and guidance about the latest technology, irrigation facilities, improved seeds, use of fertilizers and pesticides, etc. They can also get weather forecasts and other agriculture related information from these assistance centers. In addition, agricultural schools have also been started for farmers. Agricultural produce marketing committees hold exhibitions too for farmers. The Agricultural Department of the government, agriculture universities, television, newspapers, and various periodicals work for the spread of modern methods of agriculture. Now, it is possible for all farmers to use these modern methods to increase production. The whole country benefits from these efforts. I hope children you have followed the lesson. Let us start with the exercise. Come to page number 63. Question number 1. What's the solution? The plant in the pot is not growing well. What will you do? Water the plant regularly. Add manure to the pot. Keep the pot at the place where it will get sufficient sunlight. Question 2. Use your brain power. What is the purpose of storing food grain in our house? We store food grains in our house to use it later. Seasonal foodstuff can't be available throughout the year to use them in other season. Question 3. Find and correct the incorrect statements. Now in this question, you have to write whether the statement is correct or incorrect. And if it is incorrect, write the correct one also. The first one, there is only one method of farming. This statement is incorrect. The correct statement is, there are many ways of farming. Next, India is an agricultural country. Correct. Use of improved seeds does not lead to higher yields. Incorrect statement. The correct is, use of improved seeds leads to higher yields. Question 4. Answer the following questions. What are the advantages of using improved seeds? This answer you can find on page number 59. Improved seeds have higher yield. They can resist pest attacks. Some varieties become ripe for harvesting in a shorter period of time, while some give a high yield even with a low water supply. You can mark the answer in the textbook also. Next, question B. Which are the modern methods of irrigation? What are their advantages? This answer you will find on page 59. Drip irrigation and sprinkle irrigation are two of these modern methods. Advantages of modern method of irrigation. Full use is made of the irrigation. Roots of the crops get enough water. No water get wasted through evaporation. Question C. Describe the drip irrigation method. This answer also you'll find on page 59. The drip irrigation method makes use of pipes with holes. This ensures that the required amount of water drips only near the plants. Thus, full use is made of the available water. Question D. What are the reasons due to which growing crops are damaged? Diseases and pest attacks can damage crops in the fields. Lack of water supply also can damage crops. Question E. What is done to avoid the damage of crops? Page number 60. Insecticides and pesticides are sprayed on crops. Certain chemicals are rubbed on the seeds before sowing. What causes the fertility of the soil to diminish? The overuse of chemical fertilizers leads to accumulation of excessive chemicals in the soil. This lowers the fertility of the soil and reduces its productivity. Overwatering makes the land saline and fallow. Next is, what changes has modern technology brought about in the methods of farming? Modern technology of agriculture uses improved seeds that gives higher yields. Modern methods of irrigation such as drip irrigation and sprinkle irrigation are used. Some organic fertilizers and manures are used to increase the fertility of soil. Through agricultural assistance programs, farmers are given information and weather forecasts. Next question. What methods are used to preserve food grain? The grain is dried well in the sun and filled in the sacks. To prevent damage by pests, chemicals are sprayed at the place of storage or all around it. Neem leaves are mixed in the garden. Neem leaves are mixed in the grain. Neem leaves are mixed in the grain. Storage places are always kept dry and airy to prevent fungus formation. How is water made available for farming? Water from rivers, lakes, and wells is used for irrigation in addition to rainwater. Greater quantities of water are stored by building dams and bunds on river to obstruct the flow of water downstream. Next question is match the following. You have to make two columns. In the first column, that is A group, write the first one, grain stored in a damp place, and in front of that put a dash and write the answer, that is the C, option C from B group, fungus attack. Write this in front of the first, grain stored in a damp place, dash, fungus attack. Number 2, grain stored in dry air. Answer is option A, prevents growth of fungus on the grain. Number 3, adding proper chemicals to the stored grain. Answer is B, prevents insect infestation. Children, you have to write all the questions in your classwork notebook. From question 1 to question 5, all the answers write in the classwork. Read the entire lesson. Thank you children and have a nice day.